I just woke up and sometimes when I wake up, my voice, I haven't even spoken yet. And I was just laying before I picked up my phone and in a meditative state before I started to record this song. So sometimes when I wake up, I'll wake up singing a song. Have any of you ever experienced that where you're yeah? So I woke up singing Warning from Incubus, which I have not heard that song in I don't know how long, but I remember when I was in high school, I was I had my, what were they called, a Walkman or Discman, those big headphones and the CD player. And I just I don't know why I always loved Incubus in high school, and there were bands that I liked that my friends listened to and stuff, but I feel Incubus was one of the bands that I just really loved and not really, I guess, influenced by anyone. I don't know. So multiple things here. And I kept being shown, there was a show that I had watched a few years ago. I'll have to look up what it's called, but it's about a fairy school. And if anyone knows what I'm talking about, I think one of the main characters has red hair, and she's human and doesn't know that she she was a changeling. So one of the characters in the show wears these big headphones. There's something about headphones. I'm also seeing someone stick their fingers in their ears, when someone, I don't know, when you're kids and you stick your fingers in your ears and you're la 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 la, I can't hear you. I don't know why I'm seeing that too. But in this show, one of the characters always wears these really big headphones. And I think in the show she turns out to be a Heyoka empath. And she's super sensitive, and the headphones help her, stay in her internal world and regulate emotion that she's picking up. So yeah, this theme of headphones, and I just looked up the lyrics to Warning in Incubus, and damn, they're if anyone wants to share some of the lyrics, feel free, but it's actually kind of crazy because I posted, I think the last videos, Legacy, something stumbled into a new timeline, something like that. And I'm just going to read this one lyric because it really caught my attention. I feel I need to read the whole thing. Bet your eyes, girl, be otherworldly, count your blessings, seduce a stranger, what's so wrong with being happy? And I was talking to someone yesterday who was bringing up, or was I talking to someone or listening to someone? Maybe I was listening to someone, and they were saying all they ever wanted was to feel happy. So that was last night. Kudos to those who see through sickness, yeah, over and over and over and over and over. She woke in the morning, she knew that her life had passed her by, and she called out a warning, don't ever let life pass you by. So when I woke up, that's what I heard, that lyric. Which is funny because I heard it when I was waking up. But I just realized that, yeah, I heard she woke in the morning. She knew that her life had passed her by, and she called out a warning, don't ever let life pass you by. I feel when I keep saying that last line fast, it sounds like I'm saying light, don't ever let light, but I'm saying life. So I'm sure that's not an accident. And I'm getting so many chills on my legs when I read that line. And so then I started reading the rest of the song. So I'm reading it now. I suggest we learn to love ourselves before it's made illegal. When will we learn? When will we learn? When will we change? When will we change? And yesterday I was talking about change, and I had a phone call with a friend, and she was sitting on her balcony reading a book and having a glass of wine, and she said all of a sudden, when our phone call started, it started to rain, and a little harder, and all of a sudden she had to move, and it was in the first 30 seconds of our phone call. So and I just kept hearing like a big change is coming, and lightning was significant. And the night before, I was outside of this like little apartment I was staying in, and it was raining so intensely, and the lightning was like really, yeah, the last 2 days, like lightning and thunder and rain have just been significant. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, last night I think the thunder was so intense where I am. I don't know how I forgot about this. It woke me up, and normally I could sleep through like most things, and it was like, I'm in the jungle right now, and the thunder was just like vibrating me. It was some of the most probably intense thunder I felt in a long time. Speaking of, right, like warning, like I feel like thunder's like a warning, like the storm is coming, you know, when you start to hear thunder and then the lightning comes, like there's this, wow, okay, I'm gonna keep reading. Floating in this cosmic jacuzzi, we are like frogs oblivious. And I've been seeing a lot of frogs lately. Like, I guess, you know, I'm in the jungle, but like symbolically and like literally. I went on a waterfall hike the other day, and there were these like, what do they call them? Poisonous dart frogs. I took a picture of one. Maybe I'll try and like include it in the video. It was black and like this like neon green. And isn't it interesting that like really poisonous things tend, I don't know about always, but they can tend to have like really bright colors, or, you know, it's like this, yeah, there's something there, but I'm gonna keep reading and then I'll keep going. Yeah, we are like frogs oblivious to the water starting to boil. No one flinches. We all float face down. I feel like it's not as potent when you're not hearing like his voice, the guy in Incubus singing it, but I'm doing my best. Whoa, I skipped a really significant part that really caught my attention. Oh, I'm sure that was no accident. So I'm going to go back. So after just in time to see it all come down, it says, those left standing will make millions, writing books on the way it should have been. And then the last verse, I'm skipping back down. When she woke in the morning, she knew that her life had passed her by. And she called out a warning, don't ever see, I did it again. Don't ever let life pass you by. Whoa, okay, yeah. So I know a lot of people, speaking of legacy, you know, when we talk about going through some sort of, like the judgment in tarot, like a judgment call or awakening, some people are, you know, instead of calling it an expansion, really like it's like a falling away, you know, it's like a decompression or a collapse of old systems. I've heard people describe it that way as well. And, you know, like I used to spend time like, well, which one is right? Like, just because of the way I feel things, like, and like really it's all perspective, and, you know, this like paradoxical, like in ways it's all right. Like I've heard people also say like, well, if you talk about expanding, you're just in your ego. I mean, maybe, but like we need ego sometimes. So I think there's something about this, I don't know, sometimes like Incubus can have like an ominous tone to some of their meanings, or to some of their songs. But I don't know, there's something about the way, I think, what was his name? Brandon Boyd? Damn, I haven't thought about that in a long time. Yeah, so high school can be significant for some people. Headphones. I went through a period, so I listened to headphones for years. Like in school, especially in high school. Even after high school, actually, I like always had headphones in. Like even in class, like I was just always listening to music, headphones. And then I got into a phase where I was always listening to like audiobooks or you know, podcasts, whatever. Headphones. And then I went through a phase a few years back where I swear no matter what I did, headphones would just break. I went through like 8 pair of headphones in probably like 2 months. And that's when I really started to get into like channeling and stuff. So I was like, all right, I guess I was just like, I'm going to give up headphones for now and trust that if I'm meant to have them again, I will. And yeah, I did. I stopped listening to headphones, like on planes, in public, on my walks. Like, I was like so dependent on headphones, actually. And like, they served me very well through some very, you know, I got really overwhelmed in public, and yeah, they were just, but then I guess there came a time where it was meant for me to overcome that in some way and to integrate that and look at that. And I guess I haven't really like sat with that too long. I mean, I've thought about this, but yeah. And so now it's coming through as like, I know like this probably started happening in like 2022 with the headphones when they just kept breaking. And I'm recording this in 2025, and I do have headphones now, but it's funny, I actually barely use them. And when I kind of got like a message, like headphones might start showing up for you, like you're ready to have them again kind of thing. And they did. They showed up in the weirdest way. Like, I didn't seek them out. And it started slowly. Like, I had them for like a month. I was dog sitting for a friend for like a month. A little while ago. I don't remember when it was. Maybe like a year or two ago. And she was going to India, and I was watching her dog. And it was crazy because she couldn't find her headphones before she was leaving. And she was like she had to go, and she was like, all right. And I was getting messages about it, about the headphones. Like, I knew they were there. I was like, I could feel them around, like I knew. And I heard you'll find them when you need them. So I thought it was for her. Like, they were in her bag somewhere and she just couldn't see them. But no, she texted me and she's like, I feel like I'm not supposed to have headphones for this trip, even though it's really hard and I'm going to do it anyway. So we like switched places. And then I found her headphones. Like, it was crazy. She left. Maybe like 20 minutes later, I found them. And it turns out like they served me really well. Like, I needed them for that month. And at the time I didn't have like money to buy some. I was staying with like her roommate, and the way it just really worked out actually, for her too. So anyway, I'm sharing this because yeah, there's something about that. Even if it's not headphones literally, there may be something like that you kind of depended on, and it helped. Kind of like, people have like animal support dogs, or support, what am I saying? Emotional support devices or things, people, places, things. And it's not about having shame for needing it in those moments, because that's just the way, that was something that you served you. And it can come back in a new way, just like headphones did for me. Wow, I didn't even realize all. So, okay, I'm going to take a breath because okay, there's another significance that's coming through. I've noticed whenever I travel places, pretty often, I feel like I'm often, I said that word like 3 times, I'm 8 seconds. I notice, like St. Michael churches, like in like very synchronistic ways. Like I remember this was a couple years ago in Hawaii. It started to rain when I was walking, and I was seeing like so many synchronicities at once. And I think I had something on me. I didn't want to get wet or something. And I happened to be like right in front of this church, and I didn't realize there were butterflies everywhere. And I went and sat down like under something so I didn't get like soaking wet. And it was a St. Michael church. And then the other day I was having like a little bit of, I forget what was happening. And I didn't realize I was driving by like very close to where I'm staying, and there was a St. Michael church. And I was like asking a question in my head, and then I saw that. I don't remember what the question was though. And it's happened many other times when I've been traveling. So, and I'm not like religious. I don't go to churches. I used to get scared of churches. Like, I didn't like going in them for a long time. So yeah, there's something about that, like something that continues to sort of like show up in your path as like it's kind of like a comforting thing, like the headphones, you know, they were very comforting, but it's also like this, I don't know, that's just one example. There's other synchronicities and patterns that I've noticed. Deja vu is another one. Like for me specifically, deja vu comes through as like a clicking of alignment, knowing that I'm on path with my, whatever you want to call it, highest divine timeline, golden timeline. And I've talked about deja vu quite a bit, so I'm not going to go into detail on that in the moment, but I had it like a few days ago, and I just saw 15:55 on the timer. Okay, I want to go back to the song because this part also caught my attention that I already read, but I want to like go a little bit deeper. Those left standing will make millions, writing books in the way it should have been. So that legacy word is coming through again, and I know a lot of people are tapping into like 10 of Pentacles energy in tarot, like legacy, leaving something behind, and like making millions. Those left standing making millions. And I'm being taken to like the solar flashes and the solar events, and how like the solar activity being tracked is like, you know, a lot of people that are really sensitive or tuned in feel like, including myself, that the solar energy is like very indicative of our like own light, how much light is coming into the planet, and how much, you know, our cellular upgrades are taking place, and, you know, the angelic DNA re-encryption, anchoring in the original crystalline blueprint, some of the different agendas, like the Aurora re-encryption has been coming through for me very strongly. And yeah, like how the redistribution of wealth, and I mean wealth, yes, like literally money, but money is energy, right? So like knowledge, wisdom, like living more in alignment with the earth, feeling more connected and grounded, nervous system regulation, feeling safe, like all of these new circuitry that we are realigning, you know, balancing the electromagnetic aspects of us, the masculine and feminine, integrating polarity, birthing this new consciousness into, just like a more aligned way of living. And like, this is not to say, like, I don't want to come at this in like a fear-based way, because I'm grateful for all the experiences that I've had, you know. I may not have always felt that way. I don't know. Maybe I have. I'm not sure. I have to think about that. But like all of those moments of feeling so overwhelmed and out of alignment, like there's, I don't know. I personally believe that there's still some sort of grand design with all of this. Even, you know, when we get into some of the like Keylontic science teachings that I like to talk about, or, you know, different channelers that have brought through different pieces of our history. Some people like to call it herstory now, you know, however you identify, tapping into our origins, our cosmic history. There's generally some level of like hijacking, you know, or darker aspect or shadow, or, you know, like if you go into some of the anthroposophical teachings, like there's the Erman pulse and the Christ pulse and the Luciferian pulse, and all these different, you know, basically it's like ascension or descension is what it boils down to. And the Ermonic pulse is, I don't know if they call it the Ermonic pulse, but that's what I heard, is coming through in like heavy materialism. And when we like get entrenched in this heavy materialistic perspective of the world and kind of cut off some of the more emotional and spiritual perspectives, we get entrenched in this heavy materialism. So I know there's like a lot of hurt and anger that can come from feeling cut off. And like the song Incubus is talking about this warning. It's like, I don't know. I also believe that there's, yeah, even though warning sounds a bit ominous, like I mentioned before, it's like there's always like, it's like that clarion call that came through recently in a different reading. Or like, I think it's Archangel Gabriel, if I'm not mistaken, that's depicted with a horn and a trumpet, like sounding. There's always like clues that we leave ourselves, I believe, you know, like whether it's from the angelic aspects or your high self, ancestors that like being shown like through like the times of golden ages of like leaving. It's like there was always known in some way that there was going to be a natural descension, like a falling consciousness. Now, whether I believe the planets go through these natural ascension and descension cycles, like just like volcanoes, they go through their natural stages of like being dormant, and then they wake back up, and then they erupt, and then they're about to erupt. You know, there's just so many cycles. So, or maybe not so many, but so those who understand the natural rhythms, you know, coming back to not just the Earth's cycles, but cosmic cycles, and, you know, then the omniversal cycles, you know, multiversal. It's like we leave ourselves like encoded information in crystals, in time capsules, in books, in oral tradition, to heed that call or that warning when it comes back up that it's time to like reintegrate or reinstate that. And then of course there's a new era, a new dawn that comes with that. So it's like remembering what has been, what can be, what will be, and then, you know, entering into this like Aquarian age, a little bit more technological, futuristic thinking, adding like the flavor of this current epoch into what has been and what we remember and what we're re-encrypting. Wow. Wasn't expecting it to go there, but that's where we went. Yeah, I am going to for sure go into Patreon and overflow with this. I still have a Patreon to record for the last legacy reading as well. So, that's on Patreon. Feel free to share anything that came up for you. Thank you so much for listening, and yeah.